Hi artists. Today I want to just go through this technique again because I don't feel I could share this enough, as it's probably the most challenging or intimidating technique of it all, and that is blending wet and wet. I like to refer to it as damp and damp for our flowers, but I feel like once you get this technique down and get really good at it, and comfortable with it, you're going to be able to pretty much paint anything. Let's just walk through it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be using that yellow and red. So I want to get some of that in my palette first here. And I'm starting with like a 50-50. So 50 pigment, 50 water, and it's very movable, as you can see there. And then let's get our red ready to go. Because when you are working wet and wet, damp on damp, you want to make sure your paints are ready. Because if you go into the yellow with the red and the yellow's drier than the red, you're going to get those blooms, which with flowers isn't a big deal. But so I've got about 50-50 right there. So let's go ahead and get started. But see how easy that's moving around in my palette? That's about the consistency I like. Let's go ahead and go to our paper here, and you can zoom in on this. As you know, I don't quite know how to edit that for you, but you can zoom in, especially if you're on your phone. So I'm picking up that yellow, which again, you can see there, it's pretty movable, filling my brush, and let's just go in and create first a wash here. So I'm kind of using the side of my brush. I lay down that wash, maybe pick up a little water. No puddles here though, it's just a nice even wash. And by the way, this is my 8 brush. I think there's a few sets of these left. I'm gonna rinse my brush and go in here now. And if I feel like I have too much water, because going into that, you don't, like right now, I have a drip on there. Tap, tap, tap. You don't want too much water. And you want to go in here and start adding that in. Now you can tilt your paper here. You know, you can do whatever you want to get that to kind of move. You don't even have to do that. I can take and rinse my brush, tap it off so it's kind of damp, and I can help it move around. But you don't want to play with this for too long, because I'm just picking up a little bit of red paint, tap, 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 and while it's still wet, I'm going to tap in at the bottom here. And now I can tilt my paper again. On my petals, I tend to rinse my brush, make it kind of a thirsty brush. And if it's a petal, I might go around the edges a bit. But this is just a damp brush, so tap off my brush again, but look at that blend. So practice that over and over. Let's do it one more time. Picking up my yellow, go in and create a wash. Now, depending on how big of an area I'm covering, I might need more paint. But just so it's nice and shiny, it's not puddling. If I move my paper, it's not necessarily creating a drip line, just like that, nice and shiny. Now, quickly, I'm gonna go into my orange. I don't want my brush with too much because I don't need to fill a whole area. I'm just tapping into the bottom here. There we go. Now I can rinse my brush, tap it off so it's a little thirsty, and I can help it blend like that. I can go in to pick up some more of that paint on my brush. Tap, 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 because I don't want too much. And go into the bottom there on a flower. I might be going in a round circle like this. I can rinse my brush And you could leave it just like that, but thirsty brush. And now I can just kind of help it blend like that. You could even, while it's really wet, go in there with some more red paint if you wanted, even here, and just let it blend. If you want to touch that, it would have to be rather quickly and with a kind of a damp brush and helping it blend a bit like that. Okay. Let's go in and create an actual petal. So I'm going to pick up just a little bit more yellow paint. Don't want to go in with too dark of a value. Again, it's very movable. Look at that. Pick that up. Let's go in and make a petal here. Point, press, bring it around. So I'm doing the same thing as I did with the square. I'm just filling it up like that. There's my petal. It's just shiny. It's not moving all around. Now, before it dries, I'm not even going to rinse my brush because I'm going into orange. Tap it off. And so I can tell my brush is a little bit fat, so I'm going to tap it off a tiny bit more and just see. Now, again, you can tilt your page. Your paper. I can rinse my brush, tap it off. So it's kind of a thirsty brush now. And I can go in, tap off again, kind of start moving this around, tap it off again. Now, I want to put a tiny bit more red in there. So I'm going to go to my paints. Pick up a tiny bit of that, but not hardly any water. And I'm just going to tap in right here. Now at this point, I'm just going to leave it because if I keep fooling with it, this is drying now. So I'm going to get different effects here, maybe some of that blooming, but look at that beautiful blend. So I'm going to let that rest. Let's do one more petal. I go in. I've got that yellow paint here. I'm going to lighten that up a bit with a tiny bit more water, but it's still very movable. I don't totally have to tap off too much because I know about how much water I need. And let's go in and create one more petal here. So point. And I don't mind that it's blending there, kind of bleeding in. That's perfectly fine. I want that organic feel. I even left some white here. Now, before that dries too much, go into my orange. Tap, 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 because you don't want too much water. And you don't need as much on your brush as you did for this because that was a larger area. Now with that, I can rinse my brush, tap it off. I'm going to tilt my paper a bit, can even blow on it. And I can use my brush to just gently guide it around. Now, the base of there, I'm going to add in a tiny bit more red. Like that. And now I'm just going to let that be. You could still, go into the tip there, but it's starting to dry a little, so I don't want to go too much in there. And there you go. So I hope those help. Just play with that. The main tip is going in with not too much water because those puddles are going to be really hard to control. You just want that shine, working rather quickly because you want to make sure the first layer of yellow is the same wetness as what you're going in here with, the orange and the red. If they're different, this is already drying and you're going in with this, you're going to get those blooms. And then when you go in to help move it a bit, rinsing your brush, tapping it off, and it's kind of a thirsty brush. And then you can go in and kind of move it around and then just walk away, let it go. Okay, I hope that helped. Practice this. If you can get this technique down, you are going to just feel like you can paint anything. And I know you guys can do it. It's just getting that feel. So most of all, have fun. You know, this is just practice. Play with you. If you use the Artisto pads like I do here, you know, just use them 10 pages and just do this over and over until you get that feel. All right, everybody, I hope that helped. That's my quick tip for you right now. And happy painting. Thank you so much for being a part of this little community. We've been having so much fun. If you are interested in the brush, this was the 8 round. I have a whole set of 5. I think there is a few left. And happy painting. Most of all, have fun. All right, I'll see you soon.